Doesn't it seem though that the Greys, they have a bad reputation? Like the Greys had this wholesome agenda, this good agenda, but there's so much confusion about, say, the Greys and the Mantis, a lot of negative press, and there's this misinformation within the whole field of ufology. So don't you think we should stick up more for the actual reputation of the Greys and what they're doing, since there's such a misunderstanding even within our, like Susie Hansen says, we're just a tiny community in the whole world. I mean, even though half the world's population might think, okay, UFOs and aliens exist, but we're a tiny community. Even within the tiny community of ufology, there's basically a negative view on the Greys, or a lot of people. So don't you think we should work on that? Like Grant says, it's about consciousness. Could he do more shows talking about this, and also the evidence? Like there's so many experiences of the Greys. Like Jeff has the experience, and all over the world. Like there's quite a body of evidence. Of course, to scientists, hypnosis is not the best form of evidence, but to us, really, this seems to be the evidence. It's not a belief. I came about this, because of the evidence. So I think, this is something that needs to be focused on more. So someone like you're really in touch. I think you're a vital person. You could help out with that, in terms of your voice.
I've only had a couple experiences with with an image of a Grey being there, and they were all positive, but it's I'm certainly not a person to speak on it. I have a very small amount of experience with something that looked like a sparkly kind of Grey, but that's only happened to me twice. So I don't, I can't really speak on that. I don't know. Definitely everyone, I would always speak on everyone should be getting together and trying to, raise the vibe and stay away from talking about anything that is just, it doesn't even matter what it is, any negative, lower vibe, there's no point in talking about stuff like, especially now, we certainly need to be trying to concentrate on the better, more positive aspects to get ourselves out of this and to help raise people up. In my experience, it's all about, it doesn't matter what you're talking about, you should always be, trying to raise people up, trying to stay with people who can raise you up, and you trying to, raise other people up, because we gotta, try seeing the better picture and trying to create our future in a better place.
Yeah. Well, you've read like Susie Hansen's book, and I'm looking forward to Laura's book. So do you accept her thesis? Do you believe that this is true, what she's saying about the Grey alien agenda?
Susie's amazing, and I've met her a couple times, and that book is great. Okay. I'm down with anyone who believes in positivity to try and help everyone else, right?
Yeah, I just want to get your view on it, how you feel.
Yeah, just the Greys in general. Like I said, I've only had a very, two little experiences with Grey-looking beings that were definitely trying to help me, and they were positive, good things. But that's all I really know about that.
Desta, I actually, I'm really curious. I think I've heard you speak twice, and you never explain, at least I don't recall you explaining. You said when you see the UFO over the school, you want to run towards it, and you get emotional. And now I can relate to that, so I'm not. Anyway, I just want to know what have you ever explored what was really going on there? And I can't remember exactly what you said, but you were drawn to it, right? Whatever happened, you were connected and you got emotional and you wanted to run towards it.
I did. Yeah, I never. Yeah, Mimi asked about if I literally no. I've never thought about it. I don't even know. Mimi, you're the first person that's asked why I haven't asked in the channeling, because normally I have lists of things I can ask about. I've never asked about that. So I got an answer from from another channeler that it was my future self coming to like set me on this path kind of thing. So I think I just accepted it and moved on and never thought about it again. But I was insanely emotional. I don't know what happened during the couple minutes. It felt like forever because time had slowed down so much. But I don't remember losing consciousness kind of thing. I feel like I remember everything that happened, but time had slowed down. I had like crazy, like my ears were blocked, like I was underwater kind of thing. I couldn't hear the crickets or anything anymore. Time slowed down. I couldn't move. my body was being pulled, and then I was, you know, when I was released kind of thing, so I didn't feel anything when I was in the like little bubble of whatever the heck was happening at that time. I didn't feel anything. Right before, I was wondering if I should get scared, starting to freak myself out enough that I was getting more and more scared, just because I was thinking, if this is a UFO and they do take me, I'm leaving in 2 days. And I was taking a cab to the airport, and I was going to be going for 6 months, and I was by myself in the house. So I remember thinking, if something happens and this is a UFO and they take me, no one's going to know that I'm gone for 6 months.
Person.
So I started thinking, should I be walking by myself? And so that started freaking me out. They weren't freaking me out. My own mind started freaking me out. Then that weird time slowed down thing happened, and the millisecond, and I can say it was the millisecond that it happened, because time was slowing down. I was experiencing time in milliseconds. The millisecond I was able to run, like I was released from this, whatever it was, they moved the exact second I was released. And the exact second I was released, I only ran a couple steps because I had been pulling my muscles to run, but I was like stuck. So I was experiencing my muscles being pulled in one direction to run in that direction. And the millisecond I started running, I was bawling, and they went that way. They went the opposite way. So so it all happened at the exact same time, you know, but because time had slowed down, I was experiencing it in the smallest bits of time. So I saw out of the corner of my eye them leaving when I started running, and I was bawling the first second I was running. So I only took like 3 steps, and then I turned. They were moving. I ran after them and was bawling and just being like, please take me. Like why? I don't know why I was scared. And I just made the biggest mistake of my life. And like, oh my God, like, please take me. I was the entire time I was chasing them, I was bawling. And it happened in a very, at the exact same time and in a split second. So I don't remember losing consciousness or anything. So I can't say that I even think that they took me or something, because I remember being awake the entire time, but it was like a very strange, you know, time had slowed down. It was like I was stuck. I couldn't hear anything, and I was feeling my muscles tensing up to go running, but it was so slow. It felt like it took an hour for me to even take the 2 steps. It was very strange, but I don't remember not being there. I don't remember anything. I don't remember losing consciousness. So I don't know that I was taken or anything. I just know it was weird, and I was heartbroken. I was absolutely heartbroken. Yeah.
Right. I'll just share with you, and then you can take my perspective, and then you can hum and haw about that. But mine, as insane as it sounds, was that I have, apparently apparently they told me I have some kind of genetics or alien genetics. Like they did something to my mom, and I guess they do this. And so there's some kind of like I don't know. Anyway, some kind of hybridization or something. But it's got, anyway, when I was 16 or 15 or something, there was like a UFO that was on the news, and I ran out of the house, and I was like, take me. And I can't even to this day, like, figure out what the hell was I, like, why was I like that? And then when I read Whitley Strieber's book when I was 16 years old, I was praying to be abducted by aliens. And then my contact event happens. It happens right after that. And I have this kind of 16-year-old contact event that I didn't know about and kind of was like removed from my mind. But then I never have that pang again. And the pang was clearly, I was connected to these beings in some way that I was unaware of, or was just unclear to me. And I'm not certain what the Irish connection is. I find the Irish connection really fascinating, but every single one of the experiencers in our area here in Vancouver, all has Irish links, and I have an Irish connection as well too. And I think I saw that you're very fascinated with the Irish background as well too. And yeah, so my aunt and my uncle have Irish, the ones who saw it on the Craft in Winnipeg Lake there, Winnipeg Lake. So there's, I don't know if there's a larger thing where I sometimes am wondering, are these like great alien descendants or something, like are Irish people? And then second to that is like just having the idea that there is some kind of, I know there's versions of this. There could be extraterrestrial lives coming, past lives coming into the body, and then there's also the genetic side where possibly people have alien genetics. And anyway, it's a weird world and fascinating, but you don't know it until you're watching these crafts and they are connected to you in some way, and you're
Yes.
like clueless about what the hell this connection means, but there's a
Yes.
connection and you're not understanding what the connection is. And yeah, it's been, anyway, so for me, I have gotten some answers about what that connection is. So yeah, something to think about there.
Well, and definitely I know what you mean, because the feeling was they were leaving me behind. So my heart, like my, I can't even hardly describe it, but I was like, yeah, they were leaving me. That was more connected to me than anything on this earth, than any person, than any animal, than any connection I've ever had to this earth. That was my actual connection. And it's not even heartbroken is the word. I was like, I don't even know what the word is. I was like absolutely devastated. And that affected me for days and days and days afterwards. That's why the next day when I went out and I saw that big red orb over the pond, I ran, like I almost tripped over myself trying to run towards them. But that time they wouldn't let me get towards them. They stayed exactly as I ran. They stayed exactly that much distance away from me. And when I stopped, they stopped. And I even backed up once to see if they were going to come closer, because I was trying to do anything I could to get closer. They didn't though, but I would not be able to, but I was, yeah, my mindset, it was crazy. Yeah. I was like, that was the most, I can't even, that's not even like a English or human explanation I couldn't even give to how I felt when they were leaving. And when I, started running or whatever, it was, yeah, crazy. Yeah. So I totally understand what you mean. And I've seen your videos with Brian interviewing you, by the way. So I know your story too. So
Awesome. Yeah.
What you were saying about people, the waves and the star seeds that you were talking about. A lot of star seeds that are stories that I've read, and even in my own experience, there's a time when people break down and they want to go home, right? That's in the questionnaires and the surveys that people have done over the years about abductees and star seeds. That's one of the things that's across the board, is that people that have come here apparently from other places have this feeling that they don't belong here, that they want to go home. So when you were like, oh, they left me, I can totally understand that feeling, because that is a feeling that I think all of us share, no matter which star family we belong to. And I think there might be different ones,
and that's the 3 waves that Brian was bringing up too. I would say I read that book so long ago, I can't really remember it, but there was a whole bunch of things like that. Like, people would be interested in science. It's just like the Starseed. That's a totally different book from a long time ago, but, interest in science, interest in the stars, since like science fiction movies when you were a kid, or interest in, going to the moon, not feeling a part of your family, feeling like you could see things or more sensitive to animals and stuff than your friends were or whatever. And I've always had all of those things. So I really connect with, like I said, I don't really think about it that much anymore, but I really connected with Dolores's, that 3 ways of volunteer kind of thing, because it really felt like my entire life I was part of all the things she was describing in some of those people. And, so it definitely makes sense that there's a bigger agenda. We're trying to wake people up, and people need, obviously, and it's getting worse and worse, right? So it seems like it's maybe more important for us to be meditating, trying to send positive thoughts out to people, trying to connect, trying to share stories, trying to do whatever we can to however it is that each one of us individually, wakes people up or leaves the world in a better place, or leaves positive vibes in places, even if it's just that, going somewhere and just doing a healing for the trees in your local dog park, or anything like that. It's very small things that maybe are all it takes to change the world in some way, and maybe that's the whole reason that we're here. So if that is it, the grand scheme of things is we're part of this, one of the waves of people trying to do it, and maybe only because we come from a place that's a little bit more elevated than this place, so it's easier for us to see that we should be all sharing, and it should be more about love and oneness and all that kind of stuff. It might just be we vibe at the same level of people that are more interested in trying to figure out where we came from and what the importance of this reality is, and how to make the world a better place, and how to leave things better than our little personal space than when we got here or whatever. I don't know what it is, but it obviously feels better to be trying to do more positive things than negative things. So I try to, the ever striving place is to figure out what is going on in this reality, and trying to just make it better for someone, or for myself, or for my environment, my family, my pets, my, however you want to say it. That's part of the messages, and that's part of everything. And I think that's part of most experiencers, is just trying to figure out what's going on, and to, leave things in a better state, in a better place, and connect with like-minded people, and meditate, and just like try and make things better.
I think that's the important thing, rather than saying to people, oh, you have to accept the grays because they're here to do you a favor. Nobody's going to accept that. No, people are generally not going to be told that, right? Slowly people can open to these ideas, but just shooting the thing where like, oh yeah, the grays have a really great agenda and you should do it. Most people are going to go, no, those are scary things and they don't exist, right? So
I don't know much. I don't know much about it. I just know my little thing is what I just said. I don't even know. Everyone has their own little thing, and everyone's little bit is going to affect a certain number of people, right? And so everyone will connect with different things. And that's why I always thought with the book, I was never gonna talk about it, or I was never gonna put my name on it. I don't even know what made me at the very last minute put my name. I was just gonna make up some random name because I didn't want anything to do with like, I don't know, having to talk about it, or thinking that I had to try selling it or something like that. But I think that the messages that people get, or so my little thing might just be that someone might connect. One person might ever find my book randomly and might go, oh, this makes sense to me. And that's all that it matters. So that might be my only little tiny job, is to like try to meditate. Because when I meditate, at least I'm getting out of my own body and out of my own ego kind of thing. So it makes me feel better in a meditative state. If I get some positive messages, that's good. It makes me feel better. If I share them with someone, I think that it's good. It's free. I mean, it's not going to cost me anything except for my time. So it's fine. And then if one person reads it and it makes them feel a little better, then that's fine. So my little thing, every person I think can only do their little thing, and it's totally different in everyone's, in everyone's little world. And if my thing helps someone, good. And if each person helps someone in their own little thing, no one's the same. And so people are going to be attracted to different things. So if people are attracted to the gray thing, cool. Like I said, I don't know anything about it, so I can't speak on it. I could speak on this thing. And if it's going to help someone, or someone's going to, feel a little bit better, then, I think that's all it is try and make people feel a little bit better in however way you can. And there's a trillion different ways to do it. So if everyone does it in their own little way, then they're going to affect someone, and someone's going to feel better. So maybe that's not it. I have no idea. I don't know what else to do. That's all I can do. That's all I have to give. And so
yes, I want to comment that feeling of longing you had. My comment on that is, Chandler said, it could have been you from the future. But experience seems more like Jeff, like you were drawn to the occupants of the craft, like they might have been close to you, like family to you. And the most common aliens are grays. Maybe there's grays in the craft and you're attracted to them. The idea that it was you coming from the future, that doesn't make sense to me. That's somebody's idea. It doesn't seem reasonable to me. There's so many aliens out there, and you're having a personal relationship with this craft. You want to go into it. I think it's not correct that was you from the future. I don't believe that.
Well, I had an experience. I need like 1 second to let my dog out. I don't know if I have 1 second. Can you hold on for 1 sec? Sorry, Mimi.
Maybe Jeff, maybe you could comment on that. You mentioned before, Jeff, that someone asked you, I think it was, or Greer was talking about, Bashar saying it's people from the future, or the Greys are us from the future coming back, and you thought, well, but you didn't really think that was the case.
There's a bunch of reasons I don't think that makes sense, but like, why now? Like, you could have done that like 400 years ago or something. Like, it doesn't make any, the ideas don't add up. I do lean towards them being physical or in dimensional beings, but I think this 3 waves thing is.
I just wanted to say that I have no idea. It could be, you're right, it could be anything. And like I said before, I'm trying to figure out what the intelligence behind the phenomena is at all. I don't even know if there was anything in that craft. I don't know if I manifested that craft, right? And Grant and I have been having discussions about this is some of what people are seeing when they're doing CE5s and stuff, literally a manifestation of what they're, like the Philip experiment. We don't have to go into that for people who don't know, but you don't know what it is. But I've had an experience where I have seen, or, like, they've explained to me some part of reality, which was, and I guess Mimi, you must know because you said something about it, so I think you must have heard me say it at some point, but where there's like strings, like say an infinite number of strings that come out of Source's head, like Source. So Source split into a trillion different pieces. And so if everything is yourself, is Source splitting itself up to experience itself, having other experiences just for nothing except for the experience. I had a huge vision, image, download, whatever you want to call it, of these strings, and my past, future, and parallel lives were part of this string. So the string was, the Desta essence of Desta, basically, say, and along this string was every, like I said, millions of different things. So to me, it makes sense that could have been me for the future, because if everything is just me, so if this reality is a simulation or a hologram, if I'm projecting this, I'm taking the information into my brain is processing all the waves that it's seen, because this isn't real wood, right? This isn't real hard reality. It's a wave. This is like a wave. And then when I can collapse the wave function, it turns into a particle because I'm observing it. So if all of this is just data being collected into my head, and then when I figure it out in my head, what I'm seeing, I'm projecting out this illusion that I then think is my reality, then there can't be anything in that UFO except for me. Just like nothing in my reality except for me. You're a reflection of me trying to give myself information because I'm a piece of Source, and I'm trying to interact with other beings on this 3D world or whatever, because it's just an experience, and I need to have a whole bunch of different people around me. So I'm just projecting, and you're just all reflections of, if you think about it like that, then of course that thing was me, because there was nothing except for me anyways. And so, and if it was me from the future trying to come to wake me up from the past, well, all time is happening at the same time. Everything has happened at the same time. We're just perceiving it like this. So it would also make sense. It's not like a future, like Back to the Future kind of thing where I'm like traveling back in time. It's already happened. That me has already been. So, I mean, I think it's quite possible, but you're right. There's an infinite number of beings. It could have been anything, but I do believe in an infinite number of beings. So, and in an infinite number of parallel realities. So I think that what that could have been is also could be something that I would never be able to describe, because it's nothing that we have a name for. And all of this being an illusion means that that's just some, part of me trying to, wake myself up. Like it could be anything. I don't know. I have almost no, and maybe that's why I haven't asked, because I know that the answer is like, so many of my answers when I ask really complicated things are like we can't explain it to you because you have no concept of what we're going to say. So
Right.
here's like a little fairy tale for like the little kindergartner like me. Like here's a little like, you know, grade 1 story to try and make the grade 1 little kid try and figure out what we're trying to say, because we're in like, you know, class infinity and you're in kindergarten. So we can't really describe what is happening, and what the answer to your question is, we can't really tell you because you're never going to get it. But here's like some like little fairy tale that it'll kind of make it make sense to you. It's like your left brain interpreter again. It's like we need to have everything make sense. And so if we're not told a lie by the beings, whether it's the grays or the whoever's, the interdimensional future self, whatever they are, if we're not told this little fairy tale to like go, oh, that's what it is. Well, they have to tell it to us in our own language. They have to make it into English language that makes sense, that goes like, oh, okay, so it's that, but it's not that. It's something that they can't describe. And this is what I like about the you know, psychedelic state or the trance-like state. When you're actually in a very, very meditative, like completely out of your body state, or in a psychedelic state like that, what you see has no basis in reality. You can't, when I come back from things like that, and sometimes it's just like when I'm waking up in the morning, if I can like hold on to that state that I'm in, what I'm seeing makes no sense. I can't describe in English words what I feel like, what I am, or what I'm seeing. And I've had experiences like that before, where I look around in my room when I'm waking up, like I'm not high, like when I'm waking up, like from sleeping, like, you know, just a normal day. I don't know what a window is. I don't know what my TV is. I don't know what my bed is. I see shapes. I see shapes, and I'm trying to go, and I don't speak English. Like it's not even in English. So I don't even go, what is this? I go, like, you know, meaning what is this? It's like question mark. It's like not even in English. It's like, I don't understand where I am, but I can't even say it in English words because it's so far away from English and 3D and Earth, and I'm a human and I'm a Desta. It's like I see shapes and I have no clue or concept of where I am, who I am. I look at myself, I don't even know what a human is. I don't know what an arm is. I don't know what I am. I'm in a, you know what I mean? And I think that's more what reality is. And so I think that it's so insanely hard to describe what's actually happening. And the illusion is so, maybe not even an illusion, it's even crazier than the word illusion, that we like you were saying before, Mimi, we don't have words to describe any of it. And it's just like so mind-blowing that we're just trying to dumb it down, and not to try to get a little piece of information to explain it to ourselves. But I think that we're very far from figuring it out, and very far from explaining it. So yeah, it could have been me, it could have been a gray, it could have been something that's not even close to anything we're talking about, right? So who knows? That's the best part for me. That's the best part. It's something so insanely crazy that we're never going to figure it out. And the journey on trying to share and talk to like-minded people is trying to figure it out. But I think it's all a big joke, and it's nothing even close to what any of us are talking about. But it's so fun to try finding the puzzle pieces, or like the bits of, you know, the trail of crumbs or whatever, to try to figure it out for yourself. It's exciting to try to figure it out, but I don't think we're close at all.
Do you think that's one reason? Do you think that's one reason why a lot of people say they don't remember their experiences? It's
Yes.
because they don't understand what they've been through. And it's
Yes.
like Jeff's a good example. It took him ages for him to figure out just what's been happening to him.
Yeah.
And then when he finally did, it all sort of put together. And I can't imagine keeping your sanity, or at least keeping grounded enough so you can want to go back and experience it again. You've had to, Jeff, in your experience, and many others like you have had to do the same thing. Susie Hanson, I'm reading her book right now, and she describes just what you're saying, how far out it is. And I'm just guessing at it. But for any of us, it's like another, you say language, all those things. It's just so far out and something we're not familiar with. It's just very hard to explain it to ourselves. That's why we don't remember, let alone somebody else.
Yes,
So
like putting it in English language. And that's what I keep saying. When I have these experiences, it takes me hours and hours and hours of lying in bed with my eyes closed to try to formulate. It's the same with channeling, actually. Channeling doesn't come in words, it comes in feelings, and you're trying to unwrap and put human language to translate feelings into words. And you can tell if you're on the right path or not. You can tell if, like, is it this word? I can tell the feeling of it, but to then have to translate a feeling into English and then into the proper words, I can always tell every sentence that I have one word wrong. It's kind of like this, but it's something else. And it's so hard to describe. And these downloads are like the same thing. It's so hard to put in English words what it is, because it's not in English. It's not
Yeah.
in it's so hard to
It's in
describe.
ideas. It's in ideas
And
you're-
feelings.
and feelings, and you're not used to those. And
No.
in order for you to share them, you have to figure them out in your own world before you can at all attempt to explain it to somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah. And trying to put it in a linear fashion. Like, first this happened, like in the experience, it's all comes at one exact time. So when you're trying to tell someone, like when I was trying to tell, like, you know, I didn't know what the things, you know, my windows and my TV, I was seeing the shapes, but I didn't know it was a window. I didn't know it was a TV. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know where I was. I saw like the shape of the ceiling, and I could tell it was a square, and I like rectangles, squares, you know, and I'm looking around. I had no concept. I saw the shape and I didn't know what it was. I had no idea. I couldn't tell the color. I didn't know what colors were. I just saw the shapes. And so to try to even unravel it into the time of how I was thinking about it is almost impossible, because it comes in 1 second. So it comes as like a circle. And how do you make a circle turn into, you know, it's like, I don't even know if that makes sense, but it's like it comes in a piece, and you're trying to put a piece of information into a line, where you're trying to explain this happened, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this. So I always see it like a circle, like a spiral, and you're trying to unravel the spiral into a linear time where I felt this, and then this happened, and this. But when it happened, it doesn't happen. Same with the channeling. When I happen, it's one circle filled with information that I have to unravel, translate, put into words, and then put the proper words to make one line, and then the other, and then the other, where a person's going to read it and it's going to make sense. But when the information comes, it's coming in a parcel, like in a spiral. I don't know. I always say it's a spiral because it feels like it's a spiral, but I've never seen it. I don't know what it is. It's a packet that comes at 1 second, and you have to unravel it and make it make sense in English to explain it to someone. It's so crazy. That's why when I was saying to Rolf, when I was even trying to say the thing about the holographic universe, it's like, I get that science is trying to put in English words and unravel something that's scientific about what we're experiencing. But when you're outside of this experience, looking in on the experience, it's nothing like it's not even in English. It's so nothing to do with what we think reality is and the 3D world. It is so far from this, is that it's like we've created this little ball of stuff with gravity and physics and you and me, and this is the story, and you have to go to work. And it's like we've created a fairy tale of how this reality works, but this is not how. Outside of this reality, there's nothing that works like this. This is such a, it's so hard to explain. I don't even know where I'm going with that. But it's so hard to explain any of it, right?
It's nice to think along with you, though. Yeah.
I have Desta, I love to do this too, to think about what the hell is the phenomenon, because so I was able to, because I'm still writing my book, they're occasionally still here, and I can go out and, like you said, you said the little lights, right? The little ones, and sometimes they get really bright. Sometimes they stay still, and they do really weird things. And So I actually finally got someone to come out with me and say, hey, can you see these things when I have this experience? And finally I got someone else to come out and say, yeah, I see these. This happens when we are out here wanting this to see these things. They come out and they sparkle, and I'm like, listen, these are the guys. This is them. I think it's the elder. I think it's the being who I was in contact with. But so the question became of like, what's going on here? Like, why? How do they know? And what's really happening? And I noticed a pattern with like, you know, so I would like connect with like the universe, and I would say, God, show me or tell me, like, or God, are you on my side with this thing? And then you'd have a synchronicity, like the sun would like peer out all of a sudden, and you're like, oh, I think I'm being communicated to. And then sometimes like nature would just play these roles when you were like seeking guidance, right? And you would have these, and everything would be very subtle. It would never be massive. It wouldn't be a big sign in the sky. It'd be stuff that you would have to tune in and say, hey, that's a synchronicity because I just asked that question and then I had this thing happen right afterwards. So it was this kind of universal thing happening around you. Well, I noticed these beings, the UFOs, do the exact same thing. They were interacting in the exact same fashion. And so, you know, there's this, I don't know, the group here in the meetup, we've never talked about Emmerich, Paul Emmerich or something. I can't remember his name. He's coming out, or he's come out or something, and he apparently was involving himself with crash retrievals. Anyway, I don't know what people think about this guy, but he was explaining consciousness in the crafts, and he was corroborating my experience that I've had several experiences with the kind of like consciousness of the craft. And the idea that these crafts are extensions of the consciousness of the driver. So if you have a driver who is maybe enlightened or godlike or whatever, or, you know, not godlike, but like someone who is a highly evolved being controlling the craft, and then they themselves are kind of like in tune, right? Like a master would be with the universe, then or separate. Some people think the crafts are just alive separately, like they just are this kind of high consciousness intelligence. So then the craft would act in a way that would be in line with like the way the universe does, in this kind of God giving you signs when you need it. So in this case, showing themselves to the degree that you need, right? Like that's what it seemed. And I've seemed to notice this with UFO sightings. They seem to be just to the degree that people need. They don't do things massive. There's no big sign. They could obviously do that. They could obviously have their crafts and everyone could see and take pictures. And they don't do any of this stuff because they're very aware of consciousness, and they're very aware of the effects it's having on people. And it just seems like these are, and then the way they interact with your personal observation, these lights in the sky know where I'm looking. That's what's even more insane. I'm like, hey, how the hell is that happening? How are they aware that I'm looking right there when I see that thing? And me and this person, we saw this thing sparkle in the sky, and we're like, oh my God, it's definitely them. But they knew exactly where our eyes were, which is, you know, that's quantum physics, where apparently our observation has a power. So this God thing would know that. So if you had a craft tuned into the God thing, it's going to know what you're looking at. It's going to know the degree of presence it needs to provide for you. Because the other thing that happened when I was with this person is that it wasn't anything massive. I said, do you notice how it's just subtle? Like you have to believe, like that's all it was. It was this thing you had to kind of extend your belief, but it didn't do anything that was a surety. It was something that I knew, that I'd proven to myself through synchronicities, and that this person exposed itself to the first time, said, oh my God, I believe, because we were just talking about it. We were just looking there, and all of a sudden this thing happened. So that there's the energy of what this thing is clearly consciousness, and the way it interacts is this kind of, I don't know, it's like a God consciousness. It interacts in the strange fabric of the universe. And yeah, so yeah, like yourself, I just sit there and marvel at what the hell we're connected to, and clearly these some presences are very aware of it. And yeah, so same. I love to meander about what the hell all this stuff is. So
Yeah.
We love to listen to you.
good. As long as I'm not ranting.
Keep meandering, but
It's 12:47, so we've been here almost 3 hours. So if anybody has some last remarks or questions for Desta, let's do it now, and then I'm gonna close it up because I've got family coming.
I do actually have to go, Desta. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Nice
much
to
for
see
being
you,
here,
Jeff.
Desta. It was great. Awesome.
I
Thanks,
have
guys.
one question
Mhm.
that nobody hardly ever mentions, but I think there is a connection, and that is crop circles.
Hmm.
Have you had any thoughts about that?
That would definitely be something, that there's a lot of people who think about patterns, who think about the patterns, and then the next day the pattern will be made. I've personal people that I know in Toronto that have done things like this before, and of course it's been studied before. So it's definitely a consciousness connection too. So just exactly like Jeff was saying, right? It's like if they're specifically reading our mind and then doing it to prove just to some of us personally that, oh my God, we have a connection because I was just thinking about this sign and now it's the next day or the next week or whatever in there. Or on bigger scales, we know people in Mount Shasta who some of these Peruvian contactees who have meditated on certain signs, and then the sign will come in as a crop circle in England, and so what is the connection? Who knows what the connection is? And again, Grant's thing is the theory of, wow, maybe it's nothing except for the people that have thought about it, and then the crop circle comes for them to go, holy, it's the biggest wow ever because you were thinking about it and now there's that. Yeah, or is it some kind of thing where the ETs are trying to leave something very specific that they want us to work out? They want people to, they get the 3D graphics in and are like, this is like a free energy tool or device or something like that. So it's codes or specific to just show that they can see what we're thinking about, or, I don't know. I love crop circles. I've never been in one.
Who are the they?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like their calling card.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen often. Most of it is interpersonal, like what you're saying. And that is distinct, that calling card for us all to wonder.
Yeah. And a different form. So it's just like they have to leave enough impressions. They have to come individually into experiencer's life and take people so they can tell their immediate family and friends. They have to leave, they have to come when you're calling them on a Ouija board. They have to, when the person dies, they have to come into your dreams. They have to go into crop circles. They have to do all of these different things when people are in, other trance-like states or drumming or in religions, when they're speaking in tongues. It has to be in every culture, in every group of people, in every different variety. So the whole entire world at some point experiences a paranormal phenomena, so they can go, who knows why. But again, I'll just keep saying Grant's thing is a theory of, wow, maybe it's nothing except for they have to come in 1,000 different ways to affect everyone all over the entire planet in whatever your belief system, religion, cultural, whatever. It has to affect everyone. So everyone has the ability for it to have come and connected to you at some point in your family, friends, culture, religion, like I said, area of the world, whatever. Like just if you're just in England, it's come to the crops there. And so is it just that? It's changing itself into a multitude of different ways where it's trying to connect to us. And so everyone maybe at some point will be able to go, oh my God, I just saw something, or, crop circle was just down the street of my house, or my mom saw a spirit, or I just had a crazy dream and then the next day the person died, whatever. It's trying to come in every different way, shape, and form it possibly can to connect with all of us so we can all kind of have the potential of being like, wow, this is going to take over the rest of my whole life. I have to figure out what else is going on here. Life is very obviously not what I thought it was. And, then it leads you all down the rabbit hole. I don't know.
No idea whether the Greys are doing it or who is doing it.
The crops are, yeah.
I'd say why. I'd ask why. Just one more thing, maybe. What's brought out especially after reading Susie's book, is why are the Greys or the beings that are doing this? They're very advanced, way more than us. They live for many, many, possibly thousands of years. Why are they finding it necessary to have to relate and deal with we pea brain, as you put it, Desta, which is good, is I think is a good description, human beings that we are. Why do they want to deal with us at all? And what's the necessity? Are they finding that they're possibly their life is waning? Are they on the wane? Maybe this is negative, but are they needing our help as much as anything? So that's their necessity. They need to get us involved in their lives because through hybridization and all these kind of things, maybe we're their salvation in some way.
Well, again, I can't speak for the Greys because I hardly, have had any experience. But I know for like the Peruvian, and we were going to bring this up, but the Peruvian contactees, a lot of them are in touch with the Alpha Centaurians, the beings from Alpha Centauri, and so like Ricardo Gonzalez and a lot of these other people that I follow, their interpretation is that is similar to the Greys, and so I've read about it, at least of course I know about it through that, but it's the same kind of thing where they're maybe coming back because they're us in the future. They're coming back to this time frame and they're trying to, with as little contact as possible, because they're not supposed to influence our free will, with as little contact as possible, they're supposed to be trying to do something to put us on a better path so we don't blow ourselves up, create an end of the world, whether it's climate change, nuclear, disaster, whatever it is. They're trying to help us because, we end up bad. And so they keep coming back. So for a lot of these beings from other planets, at least I know that they are supposed to be coming back in time, and they keep trying to do a do-over. And then this is apparently their sixth time coming back. And we keep not ending up, like we keep having the same destination, which is the end of the world kind of thing, which is, what a lot of people are saying, that this is, what's happening here right now. And they're trying to just push us a little bit to try having us have a better outcome. So for, maybe selfishly for their own survival, but for the survival of the earth and the planet and all of us as well. So are they coming and doing that and trying to change one little bit in some of us that's hoping to do a domino effect so we can all, have a better, bigger effect on other people to maybe change the outcome of humanity? I certainly don't know, but yeah, I know the theories of other beings as well is that it's them from the future trying to come back to change humanity to try and get us on a better outcome. Could be. I don't know. It sounds right.
That makes a lot of sense to me
Sounds about right.
personally.
Yeah.
Plausible.
Yeah. And it could be many, like Ryan was saying before, right? It could be many. The Galactic Federation, again, I don't know. I believe I have so many different experiences, and now I don't really know exactly what I believe to this date, but I believe stuff like that for my whole entire life. Yeah, that there's like a bigger, authority out there, and they are here trying to help with as little intervention as possible so maybe it's not the three ways. Maybe it's them trying to wake us up. Maybe they're trying to have these interactions with us to try to, make us share it with our friends, to wake everyone up to see that there's a greater, reality out there, or a more positive reality, or, we're going to, eventually self-destruct. And so we should be trying to move to the better. I literally
I think that reality is so incomprehensible for all of us as human beings that they're doing their best to help us with it. And our future should be tied into that so that we know as much about what we can do to better ourselves and everything in order to, sorry, I fumbled, but you get the idea, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember the contactees from the 50s too were very, I don't know if you guys have read Paula Harris and Jacques Vallée's new book Trinity, but it's about the detonation of the Trinity bomb, and the aliens potentially coming in 47 and stuff after that, because the rippling effect out into the cosmos from us detonating nuclear bombs is not just affecting us, it's affecting everyone in the universe. And so there's a big, if that's true, there's a huge need for them to come and help as much as possible, to whether it's trying to wake us up, having all these different interactions, trying to download things into our heads, which is trying to make people invent new technologies to stop us using fossil fuels. It could be a million different ways, and maybe it's a million different beings coming to all of us in a different way, just like we just said with the crop circles and all these other things, trying to wake people up all over the world to try to have a better outcome, because it's not just us we're going to blow up, or we could potentially blow up. These have, you know, emanating effects out into I think Susie even talks about that too, right? In that book.
Yeah, it's in her book as well.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
harms other dimensions. Yeah.
Yes, and if that's the case, of course we need help. We need help. I pray for the help all the time for someone, the beings, the interdimensionals, the spirits. I don't know what it is, whatever it is. Like, we need help, and I definitely spend time in meditation almost every single solitary day, praying or, you know, intending that we need help, and we need to try and shift what's happening out here, because, you know, we're obviously not going into a great direction. So I don't know what it is. I wish I knew, and I love seeing all of you guys here, and I've seen a lot of you before, and so I'm so happy to be here. But yeah, I love this, and interactions like this is the only way that we can kind of try and figure it out, right? Every time you talk to someone, for 5 minutes or 5 hours, I mean, hopefully we all share little tiny pieces of the puzzle with other people, and, you know, can think about it ourselves and then share it with someone else, kind of thing. So this is the way. So we're lucky for things like technology and the internet in these ways, I think, because we're sharing it with, like, you know, people from all over the world, and trying to, you know, figure out what's happening, and trying to hopefully make a dent in what's happening with our reality right now, and trying to shift the outcome for a little bit of the better. I hope. I don't know if we have much choice.
Yeah, good point.
With raising consciousness, so we don't have to repeat Groundhog Day every year.
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. Thank you, Mimi. Thanks, guys.
Oh, thank you.
So nice
Thank
to
you
see
so
everyone.
much, Desta.
Thank you, Desta.
It was so great to see you.
You too. Thank you for having me again.
I wish Desta, you coming back again. You are
Yes.
Yeah,
if I can come back again anytime soon, we'll see how travel restrictions go. But yes, I stay with Leilani when I come out there. I know you guys know her too, so I would love to come back and definitely meet up with you guys again soon.
Oh, that would be so great. So great. All right, everybody, have a beautiful Sunday. See you next week.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Love you.